violating the league's substance abuse policy. The league said his suspension falls under the collectively bargained substances of abuse policy, and many steps have to be satisfied within 60 days of the player's application for reinstatement before it can be granted. Ian Rappaport is reporting that sources Smith is setting up a meeting with Roger Goodell or high-ranking official to state his case for reinstatement. The Raiders are tied with the Patriots for the best record in the AFC. Should they want Aldon Smith back?
Yeah, of course. He's a good player, really good player, an impact player. The question is, should he be allowed back? And my sense of that, Stephen A., he's been off a year already. I take the issues he's had very seriously, not just failing the substance abuse policy, which doesn't mean as much to me, but especially the hit and run and mainly the drunk drive, the DUI. I drive in my car with my kids. I don't want any drunk drivers on the road like any. I'm sympathetic to the idea that their judgment is altered when they're drunk and then they make bad decisions. Right. But I'm not sympathetic to the idea that they actually go ahead and do that and endanger my children, you know, on the road. That said, if the punishment is such that after a certain amount of time your case is reviewed, then you can't just summarily dismiss the idea of his reinstatement without reviewing the case, unless you believe that it's so beyond the pale that he should never be reviewed. But that's not the rules that are in place right now, and I don't think we need to be overboard in our kind of punishment of this guy. Simply because we don't like what he did. He served his time. It is time to review and see if he's ready.
Well, here's where I differ. I disagree with you, first of all. Secondly, I'm not devoid of compassion. I don't think he should be banned. It's not like I don't believe he should ever play in the NFL again. And, of course, the NFL says you're suspended for a year, so the year is up, and this is the time where they get to review the case. Me, however, I would not allow him back into the league this year. He would have to wait and then start off the season. You have to show me that you have the intestinal fortitude and the wherewithal to endure OTAs, to endure a training camp, to endure preseason and go into the regular season, that you can do all of these things while making sure you're not inebriated. I would like you to keep in mind, you brought up your kids and you talk about driving with your kids. I'm the same way. I'm a daddy too. Guess what? Not only was this dude drunk one time, it was at 7 in the morning, man. You talking about when kids going to school. Yep. This ain't in the middle of the night. Now, first of all, there's no excuse at any time to get behind the wheel of a car when you're inebriated. I get that. Please don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you come from a club at 1 in the morning and stuff like that. There's less people on the road, and I'll be damned if any kid got any business being in the streets that time of night. 7 in the morning? That's when school buses are coming around. That's when kids are standing on the side, on the corner, waiting for the school bus to come and stuff like that. Come on now. You know, so when I look at it from that perspective, you're going to come back and instantly you're going to be thrusted into the hype and hysteria of the black hole and the Oakland Raiders and the 10-2 season there. You know how it is. You're euphoric. You're in the celebratory mood. You're having success. That usually lends itself towards you, you know, revisiting some of those transgressions that you may have suffered from before, because you're in that state of mind where the world is beatable. You're the king, etc. No, no, no. He's not a part of this. Pump the brakes. If I'm Roger Goodell and the NFL, I'm not saying I don't listen to the case. I'm not saying I don't look out for him. I'm not saying I don't help him. But I don't let him back in now. I make him wait until the end of the season.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in what you said in principle, in terms of looking at it kind of generally. But I think if the time has come to review, and they talk to him, and they are satisfied that he is in a mental condition to play, then he's already served his year.
Hold on. They felt similar about Josh Gordon. Even though he wasn't allowed back on the field, they modified their rules a little bit, let him back with the team to hang out, work out, practice with the team, and then a week before he was due to get back on the field, he had to,
Yeah, but he's not Josh Gordon. It's not fair to hold that against.
No. What I'm saying is, I think it's very fair, and the reason why I think it's very fair is because he has just as many, if not more transgressions than Josh
But
Gordon.
he is an individual, and he needs to be judged on the merits of his own behavior.
But again, whether it's your court system, whether it's a job or anything else, when there's precedent that's established, even if it didn't involve you directly, that's usually used as judgment to making a decision about somebody else.
It had recidivist kind. Okay,
I'm saying it happens.
Yeah,
it happens.
We gotta go. We gotta move on.
Yeah, I want to revisit an earlier conversation that we had, which I thought was very interesting. So we asked you guys to weigh in on who of the big three you would let go, and I just want to make sure, in case people didn't know, Stephen A. said Steph Curry, and Max said Klay Thompson. Here's the results. 44% said they would let go of Klay, 32% Durant, 24% Curry. Did our followers get that right?
Yeah, exactly right, in that order. You got to keep Steph. He's the engine. Kevin Durant's the second most talented player in the world, top 3 certainly, and then Klay is excellent. I love Klay, but he's largely the beneficiary of the team he's on.
I respect where everybody's coming from. I also respect the fact that they're wrong. I'd put my basketball knowledge up against anybody on this planet. That's how I feel. I'm not changing my mind. I love the hell out of Steph Curry. He's big time. But I'm just looking at basketball on both ends of the floor. My position stands.
Interesting conversation, though. Coming up, another one, because we've got Stephen A.'s final take. You never know what is going to come out of this man's mouth to my right.
Like he get rid of
Here's a taste of
Say
it
it respectfully, Molly.
Yesterday, out of Jeff Fisher, always respect.
No level of ineptitude on any level, in any sport, compares to the pathetic results produced by Jeff Fisher. Yet he's still around, in L.A. no less, sunshine and palm trees surrounding him everywhere. I would ask someone to try and justify this, but anyone with sense knows better than to try that with me.
We debuted our new segment called Final Take. So this is an opportunity for Stephen A. and Max to go in, let loose on a topic of their choosing, a player, a coach, a team. Yesterday, Stephen A. put Jeff Fisher on notice. Who are you calling out today?
I'll let you know right now. Did anyone hear the news? When LeBron James arrives in New York tonight to face the Knicks on Wednesday, he's not playing any part in honoring the Cavs' contractual agreement by staying at a Trump hotel. For those who may have forgotten, LeBron James endorsed Hillary Rodham Clinton. He couldn't endorse Trump in his rhetoric. But now that the election has passed, even if the emotions have not, rather than engage in pseudo-protests that amount to nothing at this point, perhaps the ultra-statesman that is LeBron James could take a moment to emulate the behavior of his good friend, President Barack Obama, by dealing with the present issue of the African-American vote. After all, the black vote had everything to do with Trump being our new president-elect, did it not? Sure, white men and women showed up and voted for Trump, as did 28% of the Latino population. The funny thing is, however, actually not so funny, is that they did so while too many of Hillary's supporters were so busy lamenting the possibility of a Trump presidency that they actually ensured his presidency by not showing up at the polls, where it counted. 2 million fewer African Americans who came out and voted for President Obama in 2012 showed up to vote for Hillary this past election. More than 100 million eligible voters didn't bother to vote at all. With Obamacare on the docket, Supreme Court justices to be picked, the economy and national security issues to address, the Colin Kaepernicks of the world were more conspicuous than ever before, failing to show up and do their part as Obama and LeBron had implored them to do, particularly in places like North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and of course, Ohio. Essentially, had black folks showed up to vote this time, as they did for Obama, another Clinton would be en route to the White House, period. Everyone with a voice needs to say so, especially LeBron James. Champions take on challenges, don't they? They put in the work. They identify mistakes and correct them. And when they win, they explain how. They also do that when they lose. Folks had a chance to elect Hillary. They didn't get it done. Let negligence and apathy usurp common sense. Acknowledging why, then moving forward are recipes of champions. A nice time to echo such a message would be now, with words of inspiration, that is, not just by choosing to check into a different hotel.
He dropped the mic. As always, these videos will be posted on Facebook. Join the conversation. You might spark a thought for them. Stephen A., you killed it. We'll see you all tomorrow. Little Sunday on Tyrod Taylor at the moment, and says he's focused on Pittsburgh after losing to the Raiders. Taylor has $27.5 million option for 2017 and is 13-12 as a starter in the NFL. Do you agree here with the Bills considering moving on from Tyrod Taylor, Stephen A.?
No, I don't. And that's not to say that I don't agree with them definitively. Oh, we got to hold on to Tyrod Taylor. I think that decision should be made after they make the big decision they need to make, and that's about Rex Ryan. Why is this man still a head coach? The fact of the matter is that if the Buffalo Bills, or shall I say when the Buffalo Bills, miss yet another playoff appearance, it will be 6 consecutive years that Rex Ryan has been a head coach in the NFL and has not made the playoffs. Now, I don't know. I mean, I'm missing something. I thought America was about a meritocracy. I thought America was about production. I thought America was about results. I didn't know it was about your hairdo, you know what I'm saying, the bravado, or stealing hella. I know the owners can get away with that because they cut the check, but those who cash the checks are required to produce results. Except when you're the Fishers and the Rex Ryans of the world. Not that Rex Ryan deserves to be compared to Fisher, because Fisher's in a whole nother category by himself. But I'm just saying, talk to me about Tyrod Taylor once you get a coach up in there that knows something about offense and he decides he wants to go in a different direction. Don't talk to me about this now.
Tyrod Taylor right now.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing about Tyrod Taylor, and I think you could say the same thing about Brock Osweiler, Geno Smith, a whole bunch of young quarterbacks who at one point or another you thought were promising. Mark Sanchez, it was the same thing once upon a time. At a certain point, you got a pretty good sense of what you got, and whether that is a guy who might win you a Super Bowl or not one day. And I hate to say it because I felt differently, you know, halfway through last season. But looking at Tyrod Taylor this year, I think not. And I think at a certain point, you got the quicker you make that decision, if you think you've had enough evidence, then find someone who can. Don't overpay for the guy you think, you know, can't, just to act as a tackling dummy in the meantime. You can get picks later on in the draft. You might get a veteran quarterback in the meantime and put those financial resources into other parts of your team so that when you find that guy, you slip him in there and you're ready to go.
My question is, if you get rid of him, who are you going to bring in? That's always, you know, we're always quick to dismiss the quarterback or dismiss the player, but who are you going to bring in that you feel like is going to be viable, who is going to be an upgrade? Listen, when I look at Tyrod Taylor, there are two different types of quarterbacks in the NFL. There are the elite of the elite, like Tom Brady, guy who can turn average players into better than average players. And then there's guys that you have to build around in order to get to where you want to go. Tyrod Taylor's in the latter. He's one of the guys. I don't think he's ever going to be elite, but he's a guy that can win. You can win a championship with. He's a guy.
You think so?
Yes, I think if you build the team around him, put the players around him, I think you have a shot to be able to win. With that being said, also, he hasn't had his 2 primary weapons for most of the year.
Well,
he hasn't had Robert Woods and Sammy Watkins for most of the year.
4 games for Sammy Watkins. I forgot how many Sammy Woods. And Percy Harvin, who you brought on, only played 1 game for you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, this guy he's not an elite quarterback. He never will be. And then you take the fact that you're taking away primary targets away in the passing game. Right. I mean, how do we have these expectations on Tyrod Taylor to think that he's supposed to be this top tier quarterback?
I appreciate your response there, but I'm still not pleased. I hear all that. So how you feel about Rex? I ain't hear you bring up Rex. Why not?
Well, I'm gonna bring it up right now.
Wait, go ahead. I'm waiting, Damien. I'm waiting. That's right.
Are you
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I told you I'm not scared of you, man. I told you to answer the question.
Listen, here's the deal. Here's the deal with Rex. Okay, we have never known Rex to develop a quarterback. We've never known Rex to really care about offense. We've known him to ground and pound and play defense. And the defensive part is that I don't ever see Rex being able to develop a quarterback.
So do you agree with what I said about, let's not talk about Tyrod Taylor, let's talk about Rex Ryan. Why should he be there if he's approaching 6 years without making
you already said it. You talk about results.
Why can't you say you agree with me? Why can't you say you agree with me?
I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that. We always talk about results, right?
Yes.
When you mentioned that, the man has missed six playoff chances in a row as a head coach.
That's right.
Just Bills. At some point, that's who you are.
Okay.
That's who you are as a head coach.
So you do agree.
You are who your record says
you are. Who your record says.
Okay.
There you go, Marley.
Let's leave it there.
AFC East, you ain't going to get to the playoffs as much as in other divisions. It's the way it goes.
Damien, I appreciate you.
I just appreciate y'all both confessing that you agree with me. I know it's hard. You see what I'm saying? I know it's hard. You know.
Yeah, thank you, Max.
I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's hard.
Get another shot in the NFL. And if the Raiders should
contaminated Molly, she the same way. She ain't no different.
Stay tuned.
She just like y'all now. It's all right though. It's all love. I know what it's like. I know.
I'm not gonna pump you out.
That's not why I'm not gonna do that. You need to do that.
Don't worry about it.